All right, Chase. So tell me your business, employees.
My name is Chase Wilson. Business is Precision Drywall. We do drywall business. We do insulation, some painting. Employees, on our books we usually have 8 to 10 guys, depending on who shows up for work that week. Subcontractors, we usually have between, I'd say, 15 and 30 subs that we keep busy most all the time. Some guys just choose to do it that way because they don't want us to deal with the taxes. They want to deal with paying their own taxes and getting their own insurances and things like that. So
The reason I picked you was because you're buying into a business just like I am, and it's your father's business. How do you go about that from the very beginning, so getting into the workplace?
Well, for me, I was essentially gifted some of it because my mother took her portion that she got when the company was started and split between my sister and I. As far as buying it out or gaining more shares for myself, it would have to be discussed by the board, which consists of the three owners, which me, my sister, and my father. So in essence, we would have to determine what the company is worth, figure out, divide how many shares we have by that value, and then go from there. Start either buying those shares one by one, or if you can figure out a way to acquire all of it at once, that would be ideal. In some of the talking that I've done with a couple of financial guys, they said that the life insurance policy plus savings that the company owns on my father and myself, you can take that money and use that towards buying out the partner, and then that would just have to be repaid upon death of the loan, or when that gets paid out, which I haven't gone in depth with them about, so I don't know exactly how that works, but they said that's one way of doing it.
Sounds good. Another thing that I'm seeing my dad struggle with now is growth. What is your strategy to kind of fight those growing pains?
Right now it's hard to try to grow a business if you're not willing to work with a lot of different people and go through people to find the right people for you and your business. So it's going to take a lot of patience and training people that aren't going to stick around, and I mean, that's kind of a bummer that you waste time on it, but in order to grow your business, if that's what you're aiming for, that's what I've come to learn, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it.
In your time as an employer, what have you found as the best way to gain quality employees?
Best way I found is to treat the employees like family. Do everything you can to give them everything they need to support themselves, their families, and succeed. I mean, pay is part of it, but when the pay doesn't cover it and they're struggling for whatever reason, or there's an emergency or a vehicle need or expense, try to help them out if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Take and give them a little bonus, if you will, and help fix their vehicle, or things like that. I mean, even small bonuses, a $100 bill, cash money, goes a long way in a guy's pocket.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Going from there, what's your kind of timeline on what your outlook of your growing is going to be with Sioux Falls being so fast and everything? What do you hope to be in 20 years or 10 years down the road?
I guess it depends on how hard a guy wants to work. You know, the way our town grows and the amount of business that's available here, you can work yourself to death, or you can work just enough to get by and make yourself happy and make sure your employees are fed. And I mean, it depends on what kind of business owner you want to be. Do you want to go out there and work 80 hours a week, or do you want to work 60 like a good business owner does, or go above and beyond and put in basically 2 40-hour weeks in one?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that do that and are very successful, and I know a lot of people that work the bare minimum, and for some reason they're almost as successful as people that work all the time, which baffles me. But they get into the right thing or find the right occupation or the right people to help them run their business, and it makes their life a lot easier.
One thing that we run into as a landscaping company, which probably won't as much with the drywall company, is equipment failures, buying equipment. How do you go about purchasing equipment? Like, do you shoot for the moon? Do you buy the middle tier? What are your opinion on that?
With equipment, I like to say, if that piece of equipment is being used a lot and it's vital to your day-to-day success as a business, I would invest in that piece of equipment, and then I would invest in maintaining it. Like, a lot of people lose sight of maintenance once they buy a new piece of equipment, and the maintenance side just kind of goes to the wayside until it breaks. Well, I mean, if you do that, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
You want to try to keep things nice, and the nicer you keep your equipment, the more it's going to earn for you, the more it's going to produce for you. Like, it's the way I look at things. We have a lot of scissor lifts and things like that, and they just, they keep on trucking as long as you do all the maintenance and make sure you take care of it.
Sounds good. So the competition in town, I'm sure there's quite a bit of it. How do you go about navigating who to be friends with and who not to be friends with?
It just kind of depends on guys that you kind of see eye to eye with. People that have the same mindset as you are people that I would, hitch your wagon to, I guess you'd say. I mean, those are the type of people that you'd want to be talking to and kind of bounce ideas off of or prices off of, and just say, hey, this is kind of where we're at, on this type of job or this type of job. And I mean, it's good and healthy that business owners talk to one another, because you can kind of gauge where you're at in comparison to other businesses and companies. If you're not getting bids or projects because you're bid, maybe that's a good time to start calling around and asking, hey, what are you guys at for stuff like this, and build those relationships. And it can kind of help you in the long run, because when contractors call you that say are using that guy that you've had a good relationship with now, you can say, ask that contractor, why are you calling me? What can be done, or what, and you can relay the message to your buddy, your friend, and say, hey, this guy's calling me. I could take his work from you, or I'm calling you to be nice, polite, telling you this is his gripe. Can you fix it? Or if not, then yeah, you don't just try to step on people's toes, because that doesn't make any friends. It might help you in the short run, but long-term business, there's people that talk to one another and they help each other.
Sounds good. Well, I think we're going to end it with that. So thanks, Chase.